now introduce you to Mark Trotzuk. Mark is the founder and chief operating officer of Boardroom Eco Apparel, a clothing design and manufacturing company in Vancouver. Mark has an economics agricultural degree from the University of British Columbia. In 1996, Mark opened a clothing and manufacturing business called Boardroom Custom Clothing, which is now in its 18th year of operation. In 2005, Mark initiated a big change at Boardroom by introducing Eco Apparel, a clothing brand made exclusively from environmentally friendly materials that is committed to environment, health, and safety at every level of the manufacturing process, from raw material to distribution. In 2008, Mark's passion for the environment brought him the opportunity to train with Al Gore as a presenter for the Climate Project, a Canadian initiative to increase awareness of global warming and climate change. Mark is also an ambassador for the David Suzuki Foundation, delivering interactive workshops to workplaces interested in greening their businesses. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. I own a small manufacturing company right here in Vancouver, down in the downtown east side, and we have about 40 employees, and we do some offshore manufacturing. Probably around 60% of our production is done here in Canada, and we're very proud to be a Canadian manufacturer. We're trying to keep as many jobs as we can here in Canada. Adopting a more sustainable approach to our apparel manufacturing has been quite a challenge because a lot of times people, as soon as you say eco or environmentally friendly, they think it's going to cost more. So we've implemented a lot of new policies and have tried to embrace the whole concept of extended producer's responsibility. I really think that when you produce something, you should be responsible for taking it back and finding a solution for that. So what we've done is we've done a couple of different things. I right now produce mainly for the corporate promotional industry as well as the uniform market. So an example would be, Coca-Cola will be having an event. They need a bunch of hoodies, so we'll produce 400 hoodies. We'll ship them to the event. They run around, have a good time, and then after the event, they either keep them or most likely they throw them away or give them to whoever they want. So my industry produces a lot of waste because a lot of the products are promotional, so they're t-shirts and they get thrown away, and most of the time they just end up in a landfill. One of the other markets I sell into is the uniform market. So, McDonald's is a good example. We produce thousands and thousands of uniforms for McDonald's, and they wear them, and 6 months to a year they wear out, and usually they're just chucked in a landfill. And with corporate, most of these products are logoed, so they can't be thrown in a landfill. They have to be cut up and shredded first and destroyed because they don't want any of these uniforms ending up on people who are putting them on and walking in the back of the McDonald's and saying, "Thank you very much for the buns." So what we do is we try to let our customers know we're producing this product in the most sustainable manner as we can. I try to explain to them it's not really eco. There's really no such thing as eco. This is a really harsh industry. There's lots of chemicals. There's lots of waste. And I try to let them know that we look at it at a life cycle. We try to choose materials that are less impactful, so we have a raw material stage. We try to use as much recycled polyester as we can. Most of the polyester we purchase is made out of soda bottles. The materials processing, that's a huge impact at that stage, and it's mostly dyes, chemicals, and water. We use Blue Sign, and we have Blue Sign, which is an independent company. They go in, they check out all our mills, make sure that there's a wastewater treatment plant, and that they're doing all the processes properly to mitigate impacts. Component assembly, that's me. I'm basically taking all these raw materials and putting them together. Whether I do it here in Vancouver, whether I do it in our factory in Vietnam, it's the same thing. I don't have a lot of impact, maybe about 5%, and that comes from the energy I use, the waste I have, and there's not much I can do about it, but try to reduce those impacts. We also look at packaging and distribution, transportation. It kills me sometimes. I have to fly in 1,000 garments because I have an event to deliver to, in a week instead of putting on a boat. So there's things that we do to try to mitigate those impacts. consumer care. A lot of people don't realize that with textiles and with washing and caring for the garment, there's huge impacts, especially when you're putting it into the washing machine, cranking on hot water, carbon, and then you take it out, put it in the dryer, another 45 minutes, lots of carbon. So we try to make most of our apparel out of polyester. It takes less energy. You can wash it in cold water, you can take it out, you can hang it to dry. It's dry in about 15 minutes. And then what we're trying to implement is letting people know that there is an end-of-life solution, and that's what I'll talk about here in 5 minutes. So what we have done is we've tried to incorporate into our system a way of collecting back our garments. I have a lot of waste in the form of just cuttings, so every time we cut a garment, there's lots of little small pieces because we can't get an exact yield. So a lot of that stuff goes into the garbage in the landfill. And I've had people come to me and we try to sort out the bigger pieces so that we can donate them to My Social Fabric and places like that. But it's really difficult, costs a lot of money, and it's time consuming. So a lot of that stuff just ends up in the landfill. So I have a lot of product that I send to my customers, and they appreciate it. Most of these people are buying it not because it's sustainable. A lot of people don't care. They just want to make sure that it's cool, it feels good, it fits, and it's going to work for their event. I let them know that we have options to take that product back, and when I let them know that, some go, okay, great, thanks, Mark, whatever, and other people embrace the concept. So the people who embrace the concept, what we try to do is we give them options. So large corporations, sometimes if they have the space, we can put a bin on their premises and or a smaller bin inside their offices, and we ask them if they can, when they're finished with their apparel, put it inside the bin and or the small box, and we'll pick it up and recycle it. Now, of course, recycling, if we can reuse it somehow, that's the best way to recycle an apparel item. So if they can wear it again, great. However, corporate, they have logos on it. It's hard to sell that into the for-profit market. Nobody wants to buy shirts with logos on them and Shell oil. It doesn't sell. So most of that stuff, either if it's cotton, we can turn it into wiping rags. If it's polyester, I'm experimenting with a closed loop system, but that's quite a challenge. So a lot of times what we do is, here's two examples. T-Mobile does a promotion, 100,000 t-shirts, 90,000 are given away, and then there's maybe 10,000 left over. What happens to them? Landfill. Right? So they don't know what to do with them because they're screen printed with an event and it has a date on it and it's T-Mobile. So a lot of times I can say to them, hey, give them to me, and we can cut them up into wiping rags and put them in the, we're called wipers, put them in the bags, and they're sold to paint stores and automotive shops to wipe up paint and oil and then end up in the landfill again. But it's one more reuse. The other program that we're working on right now is with Microsoft. We do all of their uniform shirts for all of their stores down in the United States, and they're made out of 100% recycled polyester. There's really no use for it, so we collect them all back. We bundle them. We put them in these 1,200-pound bales because I have to, and this is my experimenting with the closed loop system, is I have to put them into a container, save space, send that all the way to Japan, because the only place that recycles polyester, reconstitutes it down into polyester again to make new textiles, is a place called Taishan of Japan. I used to be able to send it here in North America, and we would do this. It was kind of like high heat and pressure. We would melt the polyester back down to little pellets and then make, it's kind of like that shoddy fabric. It's the same thing they make out of cotton. And it's for trunk liners and whatnot. That facility burnt down last year, so now I really only have one option. But it's catching on, it's working, and what we're doing is we're finding that explaining to the corporation that it's a good thing that they do this, giving them that option, it's working. And it's usually working with that sustainability person within that organization who understands the benefits, not only, of course, to the environment, but also to their company, to let the public know that they're doing things like this. So we put QR codes inside the garment that can be scanned with the employee or manager's iPhone, and it goes right to this web page and explains, hey, this garment is made out of recycled polyester, here are the benefits, here's how you get it back to Eco Apparel, just send it here, we'll recycle it, and then a little thing at the bottom that says, here are the benefits, sustainability benefit, protection, brand protection, security, because at least we're getting it back, we're destroying it, and there's not going to be any corporate garments out there. And then, of course, we have a certification process where we make sure that all through the process of destroying, we can get them documentation to show that we have done that. Usually it's me down taking pictures of the stuff being destroyed, like you saw in that, but it's, you know, it works. It's transparency. They like it. They know that we're trying to do something better than just throwing it in a landfill. So, you know, I really think the key factors in what we're doing and how this can improve in the future is, you know, and people do know, some corporations do know about what's happening here in British Columbia with the Extended Producer's Responsibility, the EPR, and that textiles is slated to be one of the products that, you know, won't be able to go into the landfill in the future, and they know about that. So when a program like this comes along where they're allowed to say, hey, you know, we can implement this, well then that's a good thing. They know about it, and there's a little pressure for them to go, right, we better start a program like this now, because maybe in the future we're going to have to. So, but you know, it's corporations working together, little companies like me, letting them know that this is possible, as well as getting the information to the people within the company to let them know that this is a good thing. Thank you.